DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We are joined by Karene Reid, Utah Utes linebacker. Karene, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing well. I am wondering how long it takes to recover from a gut punch like the end of that game.
I'm still working on it, man. Still working on it. We'll see. We don't got too much time longer to dwell on it, but this one definitely took a little longer than the other ones.
How do you get to sleep after a game like that?
You don't really sleep. You just stay up, think about it, and then sleep during the day. Yeah.
Did you go back and watch the game when you got home?
I have. I've skimmed through it a couple of times. Just a very emotional night, so I keep watching it, looking for answers, and not sure I have too many.
What was the locker room like right after the game?
Just, what you would think. Just devastated, heartbroken, all the above. It was just, I've never felt something like that before. And I think it's the rivalry that runs so deep and the fire in which we were playing with, just so much of it hurt so bad at the end.
Did you hear the timeout? Did you know what was going on that play before the first time they snapped it on 4th and 10 before we get to the other one?
No, I didn't hear the timeout. When I went back and watched the film, I was actually a little confused on what happened. I had forgotten because I was watching the film and I was thinking it looked like an intentional grounding, trying to figure what had happened. And then I talked with family and they had reminded me that was when they had called a timeout, and just mind-blowing stuff, so yeah.
When you become a Division I athlete, or really at any level, once you get into sports, can you find perspective now that you're basically setting yourself up, if you play long enough, for the highest of highs and the lowest of lows? Because you're going to win some that are going to be awesome, but nobody's going to win all the time, and you're going to have some devastating losses. Once you decide, even going back to Pee Wee football, once you decide this is what I want to do, that it's inevitable, it's going to happen. Do you have that perspective? Are you able to find that type of thing? Because that's just a fact. If you play long enough, you're going to experience both swings.
Yeah, no, I really love that you said that. I think experiencing the highs and feeling the lows just mean that you're invested into it with all you have. The more it hurts, the more involved you are, the more you've sacrificed for it. And I think one thing that keeps me grounded is just understanding that the game of football is like a mirror to the game of life. And so you're going to face strong lows and strong highs in life, and it's about how you pick yourself up and keep on going. And so that's how I like to look at it.
You've got another huge game coming up with Colorado, another nationally ranked team, another team that's on track to go to the Big 12 title game. If you don't pick yourself up, this could get ugly pretty quickly. What do you say as a veteran guy? What do you say to your teammates, and how do you make sure that happens, that they get up for this?
Man, we gotta. The moment we have our team meeting tonight, we gotta put this one away in the books and go and try and spoil another season. This is we gotta go out swinging and bring everyone down with us. That's gotta be our mentality.
It's interesting to me the way the defense is playing, because for most of the game it's playing really well, and you guys have really not allowed anybody to go off on you from an offensive standpoint. But yet, with that in mind, there's like in the Houston game, last couple of games, you needed one more stop. If you get one more stop, you probably win that game. How much does that gnaw on you, the fact that you're doing so well overall, you're going to grade out very well defensively, but because the offense didn't score any points in the second half, the pressure's really on, basically to stop them every time. How do you reconcile that, knowing that you're playing well, but you don't have a prolific offense, so you're not playing well enough to win?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Just focusing on what you said about, these last two game-winning drives that we've gone against. They definitely hurt, and we definitely got to find a way to finish as a defense. You're right, we are playing well, but we got to be able to finish defensively in that one last stretch. And so, yeah, man.
Have you talked to Brant Keithy?
I've talked to him briefly. Obviously, he's hurting physically, emotionally. I haven't gotten too much time to talk to him, but I definitely feel for him, and I'm going to continue to reach out to him.
What's crazy, a defense of this caliber, you would think that you'd have more takeaways. But for whatever reason, and I don't know what the reason is, I'll be the first to admit, or reasons are, that you're not getting takeaways at the level that you would think would be commensurate to the level that the defense is playing, because it is playing at a high level. Any explanation for that?
I'm not quite sure. I don't have too many answers for you. I think the opportunities are there. That football hit the ground twice,
right?
At least twice from what I can remember in that game. And they were able to quickly get on it, and those would have been huge to turn the game around. And so, man, we just got to keep working, and then when the opportunities present themselves, which they're there, we got to be able to take advantage of them.
Can you point to anything during this 5-game streak different from those first 4 games of the year? I mean, there's a level of competition in a couple of them, but the level of competition looks decent in a couple other games.
Yeah. Shoot, I'm not quite. I can't really pinpoint anything. All I'm worried about is limiting people's points off the board and doing that to the best of my ability. So I can't really say much.
You had the injury that kept you out for a few games, and it looks to me, and I'm not an expert by any stretch, but it looks to me like you're back and playing well. How would you evaluate your level of play since you returned?
Yeah, I think every single week I'm getting better. Definitely the best I felt last game. Didn't feel much, wasn't thinking too much about it, and I just hope to keep progressing.
We always ask players after a big win, is your phone blowing up? What's the reaction like? After a gut punch of a loss like that, what is the phone like and what do you hear?
Yeah, no, I got a lot of people reaching out to just sending their love and their comfort. And, yeah, just I've been slowly getting back to everybody and showing appreciation and all that. So the support's been really good.
How about the family? You've got your father who played at BYU, played a little bit in the NFL. Your brother was over there at Stanford and then joined you at the end. How much involvement did they have in what you're doing now?
Oh, they're so involved. My dad was over last night with my mom bringing us dinner and all that. And so they're the first to celebrate my victories and the first to, be there when we lose. So they're very much involved.
They're going with you to Colorado?
I believe my mom is. Yeah, we'll see about my dad.
You are listed as a senior, but I never know who's a real senior now with this COVID thing and still lingering. Is this it for you?
Yep. I'm a true senior. 4 years in a row without a red shirt, and so this is my last one.
And then, obviously it's coming down to an end. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, super bittersweet. Just every year has been great, and memories and new teammates and new experiences. I look forward to the next chapter, but man, do I love this program.
At his press conference last week, Kyle Whittingham got asked about the culture of the team changing because of the transfer portal and because of NIL. And he said it's definitely a different deal. He didn't want to use it as an excuse because he pointed out everybody else is dealing with transfers and everybody else is dealing with NIL. How has being a teammate and interacting with your teammates changed over 4 years, given the money coming to players now and given guys ability to come and go?
Yeah. Coach and I have had conversations about this topic, and relationships are so important. And it can be tough when you only have a year to get to know somebody, or maybe even just a fall camp before the season starts. But like Coach Wood said, it's not an excuse. Everybody's got to find an answer and be able to win games. And so it's definitely not the day where you come in with your freshman class and you guys grow up together and take over the senior spots. And but nevertheless, we got to find our way to win in this new era.
You go to a late night game to a 10 a.m. start. What's going to be the agenda to make sure you guys are ready to go in terms of how early you got to get up and all that stuff?
Yeah, no, I'd be curious to see what our schedule will be like football-wise, but it's going to be, I got to start getting up early and going to sleep early and start preparing for that, because that makes a bigger difference than people realize.
I would think the thing that every weekend warrior would understand is eating too close to when you're playing and you just feel miserable. How long do you have to eat before a game? Because I think that drives a lot of the getting up, is you got to be able to digest that meal. You can't play on an empty stomach. You can't play on a full stomach. What do you do?
Yeah, I think we eat about 3 hours before the game. Somebody said something like our pregame meal might be at 6 a.m. or something crazy like that. I don't know how true that is. It'll probably be closer to 7, but I got to figure out a way to put something in your stomach no matter how early it is, which will be interesting for sure.
When do you usually get up?
It depends. On those late games, I think Lander and I would get up around 9:30, and then earlier, obviously, we'll have to get up earlier. So it just depends on the game.
But like during the week, what's your schedule?
Oh, I'm usually up around 7:30.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You got stuff to do, and I think you're a dad too, so that usually makes you got to get up early, right?
Yep. If I want any alone time, I got to get up before he does.
Yeah, exactly.
You're lucky if you can get up at 7 or 7:30 and get some alone time. It doesn't always work like that.
I know from experience. Sometimes I got to get up a little earlier.
Well, Karene, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us. That was a tough one. Good luck at Colorado, and we will talk to you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you next week.
Karene Reid, Utah Utes linebacker, join us here on The Zone. When we come back, your feedback, plenty of it. ASU fans weighing in of all the things I thought I'd read this morning. That was a surprise. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.